Welcome back to Notre Dame Day. So glad you could tune in. And joining us now is the director of Notre Dame's Nicola Center for Ethics and Culture, Carter Snead, whose recent book was named one of Wall Street Journal's 10 best books of 2020. Professor Snead, welcome to Notre Dame Day.
Tricia, it's so great to join you today.
Well, can you tell us about the Nicola Center and the work that it does for campus community?
Absolutely. The Nicola Center for Ethics and Culture is an interdisciplinary center in the College of Arts and Letters, and we aim to share the richness of the Catholic moral and intellectual tradition through teaching and student formation. We have a 300-student program called the Soren Fellows Program, named for Father Soren, who aim to use the university to be a powerful force for good in the world. We give them special mentoring and summer internships all over the world at the Vatican and in refugee camps and in Washington, D.C. We also have an academic programming initiative, as well as book publications with our wonderful friend Steve Rinn at Notre Dame Press. We're the engine for Notre Dame's institutional commitment to building a culture of life in which every human being, born and unborn, is welcomed and loved unconditionally and protected by the law. And we also help the university in its efforts to recruit, retain, and hire the world's greatest faculty who are passionate about this amazing university and its distinctive Catholic mission.
That sounds like a lot. So what responsibilities do you have as a director?
Well, I have the honor and privilege of running the amazing staff, which is a peerless group of folks who we have pillar managers for each of the 4 different areas that I mentioned a moment ago, student programming and academic programming and culture of life and mission stewardship. And we have all wonderful student workers. Our amazing undergraduate and graduate students work with us during the week and help put together our program. And hopefully when we're able to meet back in person in a more robust way, that we'll have even more gatherings of folks both from inside the university as well as outside the university also.
Well, you are known as one of the world's leading experts on public bioethics. So what got you into this field? And can you tell us a bit about it for those of us who are unfamiliar?
Sure. Yeah, no. So bioethics as a field of intellectual inquiry is reflecting on and discussing the ethical questions that arise from advances in biomedical science, biotechnology, the practice of medicine. And before joining the faculty here in 2005, I served as the general counsel to the President's Council on Bioethics, which was a White House advisory commission advising the White House, being a liaison to Congress, as well as to the UN and Council of Europe on the public questions that related to bioethics, the governance of science, medicine, and biotechnology in the name of ethical good. So laws, judicial decisions, executive actions, administrative agency actions. That's my area that I teach in and research, and still provide some public service from time to time as well.
Well, in October of 2020, your book, What It Means to Be Human, The Case for the Body in Public Bioethics, I hope I got it all right, was published. There it is. What inspired...
You mean this book right here, Tricia?
Yes,
this one right here?
This one right here. What inspired the book, and in what ways do you envision it influencing a national conversation about bioethics?
Yeah, thanks for that question. So the book is really the culmination of my career thus far, focusing on the question of how the law and public policy can best protect the weakest and most vulnerable among us, children, the disabled, the elderly. And a question that had sort of persisted in my mind working in government and in various levels of intergovernmental service and in the private sector was, why does the law so frequently fail to offer comprehensive protections for the children, born and unborn, as well as the elderly and the disabled? And the answer I came to and wrote up in this book is that the law has to be grounded in a full and comprehensive vision of what it means to be and flourish as a human being, because all law exists to protect persons or to promote their flourishing. And so all law has to have a set of assumptions about what a person is and what human flourishing is. And what I argue in the book, drawing upon the work of wonderful Notre Dame philosopher Alistair MacIntyre, who's a fellow of the Nicola Center, has been here for decades, is that people, by virtue of our embodiment, by the virtue of the fact that we live and die and encounter each other and ourselves and the world around us as bodies, there are certain consequences of vulnerability, mutual dependence, and subjection to natural limits that mean that to survive and to flourish, we need each other. We need to take care of each other, and we need to build up what MacIntyre calls networks of uncalculated giving and graceful receiving, made of people who make the goods of others their own good. That's what we need as human beings to flourish and to survive. And the law has to be built on that foundation and with that realization of what it means to be a human being.
Sounds like the world needs to work on some definitions. In December, the Wall Street Journal included What It Means to Be Human on its list of the top 10 books of 2020. So congratulations on that accomplishment. I think people had time to read last year. What was the reaction to that news?
I was so grateful and humbled by that. Again, when you work on a book like this and you sort of pour your heart into it, you kind of finish it and you feel like you've accomplished what you set out to do, and you hope maybe your students read it and friends and colleagues in your field read it, to get that kind of attention from a national newspaper, from the Wall Street Journal, for them to name it as one of the top 10 books of 2020. Was extremely gratifying, because I think that means it breaks through the boundaries of academia into the broader public consciousness and the public square as well. So very grateful for that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it means, Professor Snead. Congratulations, you've earned it. And again, best wishes, and what a pleasure to interview you today for Notre Dame Day. I loved it.
Great visiting with you, Tricia. You take care.
All right.